Hello, my name is Aaron and welcome to my Alchemical Hydra Slayer Guide. In this video I will run you through inventory setups, gear setups and how to get your first Hydra KC. So let's get into requirements. The requirements are as follows. You must have 95 Slayer to kill the Alchemical Hydra, and you must also be on a Hydra Slayer task. As for recommended, I recommend 90 plus range because it's beneficial for faster kills, as well as 74 prayer because having rigor makes kills so much faster, but Hydra can still be easily killed without. I would also recommend that you have 70 defense or above, because having this is a nice bonus for the first phase of the fight where you will not be able to tell what attack is going to hit you until it already has. And finally, a fairy ring and rejuvenation pool in your house will help things flow more efficiently, but you can always restore using Clan Wars with rings of dueling if you do not have access to this. Okay, so now we're on to gear setups, and please keep in mind that every single item that I use can be downgraded or upgraded. For example, in all of the gear setups that I show, I'm using blowpipe. If you have a T-bow, you are more than welcome to use that, and to be honest, you probably should, because it is faster DPS. But I'll get into my setups first. So here's the one I tend to take. So I use full armor, I use an anguish, the boots of brimstone, Barrow's gloves, I have rune darts, my blowpipe, the upgraded Avers. However, you can always downgrade your gear and go for, say, God D'hide, Addy darts, regular boots of stone. You just want to be taking the best range gear that you can, along with decent darts in your blowpipe. No matter what setup you take, you must be wearing either boots of brimstone or boots of stone. The reason for this is because when you're inside the Kebos Lowland Slayer dungeon, as soon as you jump over one of the rocks, you will start taking constant damage unless you have one of these on. The only way to get around this is to have the Korend and Kebos Diary elites completed, and then you can wear any boots you want. So if you have those completed, go ahead and use Pegasians or whatever your best range boots are. So now we're on to inventory setups, and please just keep in mind that what I'm showing you is a guideline. It's what I would recommend for someone who's killing Hydra for the first time, but myself personally, I start to take a lot more super restores than this nowadays, and you'll probably end up doing the same once you become a bit more confident with the boss. So in the inventory setup that I'm showing you here, we have teleports to house, a German staff, which you will not need if you have Lummy elites completed, 1 antidote plus, 1 ranging potion, 6 super restores, a rune pouch containing natures and fires for high alchemy, and then we fill the rest of our inventory with decent food. Once again, you might find this boss easy, and you might find yourself upgrading the amount of super restores you take pretty quick. Now we're going to talk about how to get to Hydra. I start by using a fairy ring, which for me is in my house, and then using the code CIR, which will take you to northeast of the farming guild in the Kebos Lowlands area. Once you arrive, you want to start running northeast until you come to a agility shortcut, which you can see highlighted in green thanks to rune light, and climb up both sets of rocks. Once you reach the top, you can see that there's an elevator in the middle. South of that elevator is the Slayer Master, where you would get a Hydra task, and northeast of that is a bank. To get to Hydra, we're going to go down the elevator. We're then going to continue north through the cavern, and then you can see here that there's a little rock which you can climb over. This is the rock I was talking about earlier. If you don't have the boots on, you would start getting hit constantly. You want to run through the hydras and then east. And finally you will arrive at a big room with another rock to the north of it. And once you climb over this rock, you should be able to see the room for the Slayer boss. And you can see the Hydra roaming around in there. Okay, so before we get into the next section, I just wanted to add that if you were to die, this guy right here is the one that you would claim your items from. And if you come back, make sure you have Boots of Brimstone or Boots of Stone on. So now we're going to talk a bit about the boss, its room, and its mechanics. So the Hydra boss has 4 phases. These are green, its starting phase, blue, its second phase when it reaches 75% health, red, which is its third phase, which is when it reaches 50% health, and finally its black or Jad phase when it reaches 25% health. I will go into more detail on the special attacks of each phase later on in the video. So in Hydra's room there are 3 vents. A red one, a green one, and a blue one. These work a bit like the combat triangle, in which we must drag the Hydra onto whichever one it's weak to at the time. So when it's green, we make it walk on the red vent. When it's blue, we make it walk on the green vent. And when Hydra is red, we make it walk on the blue vent. So here's a quick diagram I've made of the room. We have it split into 4 sections. So we've got the first section, which is the entrance, i.e. there's no vent there. Got the second section, which is the one we will use when Hydra is green. The third, which we will use when Hydra is blue. And the fourth, that we will use when the Hydra is red. You will always use the vents in the same order: red, green, blue. This will become more clear when I show you a kill later on. So now we're going to get into the different attacks and special attacks that Hydra uses. So the first basic attack we have is the ranged one, which is a single spike. And then the second and final basic attack we have is the mage one, which looks like multiple of these spikes. These basic attacks will always come in groups of 3. For example, if Hydra starts by using a ranged attack, it will use 3 ranged attacks, and then switch to mage for 3 attacks, and then back to range, and so on. If Hydra changes phase, this count continues going. For example, if you're fighting Hydra and it's on green phase, and it uses 2 ranged attacks, and then Hydra switches to blue, it will use 1 more ranged attack, and then continue to switch on to mage as normal. However, special attacks such as acid, lightning, and fire do not count towards this count. Okay, so now we are going to go over the special attacks that Hydra uses. So on green phase, after the first 3 basic attacks, Hydra is going to spit acid on the floor around you. So you can see there's the 3rd attack. Now I just run 2 tiles in any direction, and that's as simple as that. If you land on it, you may get poisoned and you'll have to drink a dose of your antidote, but that's not too much to worry about. Next up, we have the blue phase special attack, which is lightning. After 3 attacks, the Hydra is going to release some lightning into every corner of the room. You can see me dodging it here by using tile markers, which I will show you afterwards. As you can see, the Hydra spits lightning, and as soon as one comes close to me, I run along the south wall and then up to a specific tile, which I again will help you mark, and the other lightning will disappear before it hits me. Simple as that. So next up we have red phase. This special attack is Flame Wall. After the first 3 attacks, the Hydra is going to walk to the centre of the room and put firewalls around you so that you cannot walk out of an area. It will then breathe a trail of fire that follows you around. As you can see here, the Hydra walks to the centre. I switch to walk. Once he puts the 2 firewalls down, I start taking 1 step at a time with a blowpipe hit in between each. It is also possible to skip this phase by DPSing him down to 25% before he starts spitting the fire. Next up we have Jad phase. This phase is going to alternate between attacks, one at a time. The reason I'm showing you it from red is because I want you to take note that the last attack the Hydra used was mage based. So as we get to the phase here, it's always going to start on the opposite of what it used. So for me at this time it's range, then we'll go to mage, then we'll go back to range again, and then on the next flick it's going to shoot a poison ball. We walk 2 spaces as before to dodge that, and keep flicking until the Hydra is dead. It is also worth mentioning here that if you go 9 attacks without killing the Hydra, although uncommon, it does happen, it will spit another acid ball at you, and if there's no firewall around you, it will act as if it's acid from the green phase where it goes onto multiple tiles. Next up we have tile markers. Feel free to mark these for yourself on RuneLite or OSBuddy, whichever client you use. Okay, so an explanation. Tile 1 is our starting tile. That is where we will always want to start the fight because it drags the Hydra onto the red vent and makes him weak. Then we're going to want to run to tile 2 once blue phase comes in. You can sort of kite your way up to it during the first phase if you like, so you can get more damage whilst you're running. Tile 2 is going to drag the blue Hydra perfectly onto the green vent, and then once the Hydra has been weakened on the green vent, we will stand on tile 3, which is the tile we're going to use to be able to avoid the lightning. Once lightning comes in, we're going to follow the north wall there with the sort of blue machinery along the top of it, across, and then run up to tile 4. This is the tile that we use to avoid the lightning. Once the lightning has passed, stay there and damage the Hydra until it turns to red phase, and then run to tile 5. Once you see the Hydra roar, we want to run to tile 6. This is my personal preference tile for the flame phase. This may seem a bit overcomplicated now, and it will come with time, and you may also find that some tiles work better for you, but this is the setup that I tend to go with. And feel free to stand outside the room, use the camera plugin for RuneLite to zoom out, and then mark these tiles yourself before you go in. It's really helpful to have that guideline there when you're beginning. The only thing left to do now is show you a full kill, and I will do this from start to finish with commentary over what is happening, what special attacks are coming, how I dodge them. Although very easy to make mistakes on this boss, they don't tend to punish you too hard. If you're relatively careful with what you're doing and you take a big hit, you can still continue to survive. So let's get into a full kill. So here we are starting on tile 1. We don't know which attack the Hydra will use, so we put Protect Mage on as that hits hardest. This is the tile you'd want to run to if you'd just come into the room. That's 1 attack. Luckily for us it was mage. That's 2 attacks. Remember, after the 3rd, which is here, we get poison. We also want to switch our prayers. And count. 1, 2, and 3. So we switch to Protect Mage. Count again. 1, 2, and 3. Now we run to the second tile that you marked for mage phase or blue phase and count attacks as 1. We then run to tile 3, that's 2, and that's 3. So we know lightning is now coming, so we wait for the lightning bolt that lands close to us and then run along the wall, and that's 1 mage attack, 2 mage attacks to tile 4, 3 mage attacks, and we switch prayer. I run to this tile. You don't have to use this one, you can stay on tile 4. Notice how it's not used 3 range attacks, so it's going to use another one. Then we switch to Protect Mage. Keep note of the last attack the Hydra uses, as the first part of the final phase will use the opposite to that one. So ours was Mage. So we keep Protect Mage on just in case he was to hit us during Flame, and then switch to range once we hit Final Phase. Now we just keep switching back and forth between our prayers. We know Poison is coming after 3. And now we can switch as normal until the Hydra is dead. That's it. Now you would pick up your loot and then run back to tile 1 if you wanted to continue the trip. And that's it. So hopefully you land on the unique table a few times. Maybe get yourself some nice drops with that, make some money, get a few Hydra KC. Who knows, maybe even a pet. Thanks for watching. Good luck with Hydra.